Okay, so this is another grammar rule example, and this is the one from the past question. So we'll be looking at it keenly to understand the concept. It's the same concept with what the previous examples we did. So this is the last example we'll be taking. So we have this production rule stated here, and we are asked to show a leftmost derivation of the statement A equal to bracket open A plus B bracket close multiplied by C, and then we have to draw the parse tree. As I said earlier, it's the same pattern with the examples that we've just done. We'll just be following it gradually until we derive the sentence for it. So let's start with the sentence derivation. So you can see from the first part is assign will give us ID equal to expression. Assign equal to ID equal to expression. So we'll start with that. We'll have assign. Remember, it will yield. It's not the same line. This is two lines we are going to use. It's different. So assign will yield ID, right? And it's going to give us what? Expression. So now from here, what will ID give us? Either A, B, or C. Now if we look at our sentence, we are trying to get A equals to brackets open A plus B times C. So that means we are going to pick A here, and then to be equals to expression. Remember, one at a time, right? So we have A equal to expression. So we are trying to get this right. So we've gotten this part. So that's progress. So now expression can either be expression plus term or just term. Expression plus term or just term. Now, if you look at this sentence, you're going to see that we need to get to a point where we'll multiply. And if I say expression plus term, I'm not going to get any multiplication. But if I use term from here, just term from here, I'll get to a place where I'll do term multiplied by a factor. And I want to get to this factor, right? So I'll choose term. So I'm going to come here and say A is equals to just term. Next, I'll pick A is equal to, now my term now will be term multiplied by factor. So my term now will be term multiplied by factor, right? Then the next one, this my term can either be term multiplied by factor or just factor. Now I'm going to choose just factor, because if I can see this production rule here, it has the bracket sign in quotes, and I'm looking for the bracket sign to put these two things inside. So I'm going to choose term here to be factor, and I will not touch this other part, which is also factor. You can see it's the same thing we've been doing since. So the next line, A equals to, now factor, I'll choose this part that has bracket because that is what I've been looking for. So I have my expression inside my bracket, and then I have factor, I won't touch it. Remember, it's leftmost derivation. Look at it clearly. Then next up, we have A equals to the expression. Now it can be either expression plus term or just term, right? And remember, we're trying to get A plus B, and it's ID. ID is what is going to give us that A plus B, and we need to get to what? Factor. So anything you're doing, make sure that the sentential form is on your mind. So this expression, we are going to expand it to expression plus term, because we are trying to get this plus symbol, remember. So we expand this expression here to be expression plus term, right? And then we'll not touch this other part, factor. Next, this expression now is going to give us either term, right? And term can give us factor. So this expression here will give us term, Remember, it's just only one side we touch. So since we've changed this, we'll leave all these other guys. We'll come back for them in the next line. Next up, we are trying to change term to give us a, right? So term will give us factor now. So we'll have factor, right? We keep these ones the way they are, picking one item at a time. Now a now will be equal to, we have brackets. Now we can pick factor id, right? We can pick factor id. These other guys will remain the way they are. Now our id can now give us a, right? Then we now have our term. Remember, you're only deriving one element at a time. So since we've changed id to a, we can't touch this. So now the next one, we can now touch term. So now we are trying to get term to be b. Okay, so we'll do the same thing we did. Term will turn to factor, factor to id, then id to b. So term here will be factor, right? We're not touching this side. And then from factor, we'll have id from the production rule. And then from id, we can now get our b, right? id to b here. And then we are done with the brackets. We can now come out to check what factor is doing. So now factor, we are trying to get factor to c. So just as we did before, you change factor to id and then id to c. You can see it's becoming more easy. So factor here to id, right? And then from id now to c. So congratulations, we've been able to derive our sentential form. Next up is to draw the parse tree. So I don't know if this is going to be enough to draw the parse tree, but let's see. So now let's draw the parse tree for this sentence. The first thing we are going to pick is the assign, which is the first statement. Assign gave us id equals to expression. So from here, assign expanded. One side is id and one side is expression. From this id, give us a, right? And then we are done with that. But from this part of expression, it gave us what? Term. Okay. Then from term gave us term times factor. So here term divided into 2 with multiplication here. It gave us term and it gave us factor. Now term times factor. This term gave us factor, right? This term gave us factor, and this factor gave us this expression in brackets. Remember? So we are taking them one by one. Then this expression in bracket gave us expression plus term. So it gave us expression plus term. Right? This expression plus term gave us, this expression now gave us term, factor, id, and a. So this expression gave us term, right? Give us factor, gave us id, then got to a. Right? We are done with that side of the tree. Why this term? It also gave us, remember when we started changing it, it was the same here until we got to factor. So here it gave us factor, it gave us id, and it gave us b. right? Why all this part 2, factor until it gave us what? ID, and it gave us C. So congratulations, you've been able to draw the Parse tree for this sentential form. Thank you.